Hey everyone, I'm here with Matt Bingaman, who is a fan of the Anti-Marketing Manifesto, and I just wanted to bring him on this interview to get some insights into how this book helped him. He was sharing with me that this book helped him with his business, his real estate business. So, Matt, if you want to introduce yourself real quick and let people know like what you do, how you help them, and then we'll dive right into the questions.
Thanks, Michelle. Yeah, big fan of the book. So my name's Matt Bingaman. I'm a California state licensed realtor, real estate professional. I do residential and commercial. I've kind of dabbled in a few different markets, but mainly my main source of income is through sales of real estate.
Awesome. And how did you first hear about the Anti-Marketing Manifesto?
So my friend Shane Ellison, chemist dad for life, a good buddy of mine. I was just kind of picking his brain on some stuff, and he says, "Hey, you got to read this book." After I was done with it, I was like, "Wow, that was amazing. I'm gonna read it again." He said, "Yeah, it's definitely the one book that all entrepreneurs need to read," and I 100% agree with that.
Awesome. And what would you say your business was like before you read the book and then after you read the book?
It was very confusing. Sales was I loved sales when I was in my 20s, but I got out of it because of what I was taught. It just didn't feel right. And so I didn't really know what I was doing, but I, didn't want to swing a hammer anymore for work. So wanted to get into sales. And, I didn't understand how to use language correctly, how to market accurately, and really how to appeal to a customer in an honest, genuine manner. And, you know, after reading the book was great. And then we'll kind of touch on when I worked with you a little later and how it just completely opened my mind to how you can really make a difference in marketing.
Yeah, and you mentioned something to me about predatory marketing. Do you have an example of like something like that?
Yeah, I got a bunch of them. So I'll just use one from real estate. I hopped on a sales team at one point. The team lead seemed like a great guy. I heard a lot of good stuff about him. He was a good salesman, seemed real knowledgeable and hungry like myself. But once I started working with him, I was shoulder to shoulder with him for 14 to 16 hours a day, like 6 days a week, really trying to grind. And we'd go on listing appointments, and he would tell me, he's like, "Hey, you say whatever the f you need to say to get this sale. Like, don't worry about it. Like, we're with one of the biggest brokerages. Like, our legal team's strong, so your license is fine." And I was like thinking to myself, like, man, that goes against everything of who I am and what I stand for. After I kind of changed my life around, and it was just real shocking. And I actually left that team about a week later, and it was just how predatory that guy's entire structure was so against everything about who I was that it pained me to even go into that office. So I definitely left.
Yeah, and you didn't want to sell like that, right?
No, and to be more specific about it, he would tell me, you say whatever you need to say on the phone, cold calling, you say whatever you need to say in person. Just make sure the contracts are written correctly, but you say whatever you need to say to get that sale, Matt. And I said, well, hey man, like I'm an honest guy. I don't like to do business that way. He said, well, are you loyal to your family, feeding your kids, or are you loyal to the stranger that you're never going to see again? And I said, hey, my license is predicated on fair and honest dealings with all. And he just kind of looked at me and said, man, you got a lot to learn. So yeah, I did learn a lot, not to work with people like that. So I left.
All right, awesome. And you were sharing with me like what you were able to make in your real estate business like the first 6 months. Do you want to share with people how
Yeah,
that?
I think it was like my first 6 to 8 months. 6 to 8 months, I made 200,000 in commission. And granted, the market was great at that time. A lot of people were buying because interest rates were low. But the way my leads worked was they were internet based leads, and so I would have to basically just show up and meet these people and try to build rapport with them and try to bring enough value for them to want to use me instead of their friend. I mean, let's face it, everybody's got a friend who's a realtor these days. So for me to get that business comes back to the book and me motivating, educating, and inspire them to want to work with a guy like me, and why I differentiate myself from the other people and just show my intentions and that I'm just a genuinely good person.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. And that's the MEI principle, motivate, educate, inspire from the book. What do you think were your top three takeaways from the book?
Oh yeah, and I don't think we have enough time for that. like I was telling you the other day, is there's so many nuggets in this book. Like I can open the book like to any page and I can find a nugget that applies to my life and just how I should really kind of go back in that direction. There's a part in congruency in there, and I just love it, and it's like in 180 page range, I remember. And it's just that whole section was so strong and it hits so hard, but it really touches on not being predatory, just finding your perfect fit client, right? Like who is a perfect fit for what I'm providing? Okay, cool. Great. So I've narrowed it down. We go into a lot of other stuff, but it really comes down to, like, for me, the intention that you're setting. Are my intentions to help this person, or my intentions just to get the deal done and get a commission check? Because I guarantee you, doing enough real estate transactions, I know that if the other agent on the other end of the transaction, her or his intentions are the commission check as opposed to helping their clients get the perfect home, it shows. It shows in their client's experience, it shows with my interactions with them, and it shows just in the transaction itself and how smoothly it's completed. People's intentions are everything.
Absolutely. And going back to the perfect fit client, you were sharing with me earlier that you had just started posting about overcoming a drug addiction on your Instagram and that you got a flood of all these messages from people. That to me sounds like those are your perfect clients for this new direction that you're going, which is like coaching. Do you want to say a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. So I really hit Instagram hard with real estate stuff. And then, I posted one story about my addiction, and overcoming addiction. And not to get too far into it, but I struggled for many decades with the hardcore addiction. And I mean, it almost killed me so many times, and lost friends during it, jail, institution, all that stuff. The only one I missed was death. Came close though. And, I shared a story about a friend of mine who died after he'd been clean for years. And the amount of people that reached out to me, it showed me a clear path of, okay, Matt, this is your purpose. You're here to help people. You're an expert in this field. If anybody goes down as dark of a path as you did and makes it, they're literally like less than 1%, literally less than 1% of people who can do that. And so I started talking more about it, giving more examples, and people were reaching out more and more and more. And now there's a group of people I've never met in person, but we're friends on there. I've been helping them. I mean, they've been helping me. There's a huge support group we have going now. People are finding a ton of value in it. I'm finding a ton of value in it. And so it just kind of organically happened, I guess you could say.
Yeah. And I love that because that's based on your real life experiences. That's not something you copied from somewhere. That's not a template. That's not something that scripted out. It's literally your real life, and you're sharing that. So that makes it real. And that's pretty much what this book is about: taking your real self, your real life, putting it into the business, and then helping others that way. So who do you think should read this book and why?
I'll be honest with you. I think it's a must read for everybody. I read at least a book a week these days. This one was written very well, so it reads very well. It's a great read. My personal thing is personal growth, and it's something that you talk about in there too, even 1% each day. That's something that I adopted a long time ago. And if you're trying to create a better version of yourself, this is a great place to start right here, right? I'm trying to create the best version of myself. So that's why I'm doing so much, because that's my goal. That's what I want to do. So if you're an entrepreneur, if you're in sales, if you want to change your career, if you want to understand people better, if whatever, it's a must read book.
Thank you. I appreciate that. All right. Awesome. Is there anything you would like to leave the viewers with?
I mean, so much, definitely just go get the book. I always tell people, people always say, oh, I have a couple extra dollars. What should I invest in? Well, invest in yourself. Go buy this book, read it a couple times, take some notes, and figure out how you're going to make yourself better. I just want to let people know, if they want to reach out to me, it's it's Matt.Bingaman on Instagram.
All right. Yeah. And I'll drop the link on this video somewhere so they can reach out to you for sure. Well, thanks, Matt. I really appreciate that. And yeah, I hope that was helpful for everyone on my Instagram, my YouTube. So I'll be posting this video there. So thank you guys for tuning in, and stay tuned for the next interview.